Hi guys, welcome back to Master of None. It is Friday, April 4th. Yeah, I think it's April 4th. And hey, how y'all doing? So, obviously I took a little break. So I'm just gonna jump into a media recap. Basically, like the things that I read, the articles that I read, like the books, the articles that I read in the past 3 weeks. It's honestly quite diabolical. I was like, you know what? Maybe the vlogs were making me read slower, which there's no real correlation because it's not like I'm vlogging myself for reading or anything, but whatever. I still want to continue making my weekly vlogs for Master of None. I just got to get back on track. Things were really busy. I had a lot of shoots. I had 3 articles in 3 weeks to write, which I was talking about in the last one, but I kind of like really hunkered down and just worked on writing that. I released 2 Substack posts, so I have been working, I have been writing, I've been shooting, I've been doing my thing. Personal life stuff has been super busy too, and like a bunch of like like fun little things have happened. If you're an astrology girly, I like astrology. I don't like wholly believe it, but I do really like to know what's going on with the transits and everything. It was Venus retrograde, or it is Venus retrograde, and it is Mercury retrograde. So there's a lot of things going on. Mercury retrograde kind of affects travel and communication, all that stuff. And I'm a Virgo, and that affects me deeply every time it happens. And then Venus retrograde is really fun for me personally because I have Venus in Virgo, and Venus is like not in a great place in Virgo. So when it goes retrograde, which is bad for everybody else, it's usually great for me. So there have been some fun things going on. With that, just like meeting new people, having new experiences, like really good nights out with friends and all that fun stuff. So all good things. It's been a busy time. I've been taking naps, which is crazy. I'm not necessarily a nap taker, but it's been fun. I've just been, living life, having fun. But I do want to get back on track with like my vlogs because I still want to be able to look back and see what I did this year, and like what I read, what I learned, all that fun stuff. So I'm gonna get into the books. I read 5 books in the 3 weeks that I was gone. 3 I have physical copies of, and 2 were online books, which is crazy. I also finished an audiobook as well. So there's a lot. So I guess like 6 books. I don't really count audiobook as reading, but I will include it. 6 books to recap you on, and I'm gonna try to do it so quick. I want to do it in order, but I don't remember if I read The Memory Police first or The Bluest Eye first. I remember me talking about the both of them, but I'm not sure which one I recapped or which one I was recapping or whatever. So I'm going to start with The Memory Police. So I finished this. It's a dystopian novel about a island in Japan who has like a memory police, and they're erasing people's memories. And the whole book, I was like, okay, so like, why are they erasing people's memories? Was there something that happened? And of course, I can deduce that it's about control. It's like, this government who wants to control their people, so they're erasing memories. This makes sense to me. But they never say why. They never say if something was like the catalyst for it or anything. They kind of just say like, the memory police are coming. And yeah, so I kind of like, I rated it 2.5 stars. I'll put my Goodreads review on the screen. But it genuinely just felt like I was reading this woman's inner dialogue about the memory police. And then towards the end of the book, the memory police really like starts to affect her. And honestly, the last page was really, really sad, but it was rendered ineffective because of the rest of the story. The rest of the story genuinely didn't give enough context. I wasn't attached to the characters enough, and that may just be a me thing because this book has an award. It was a National Book Award finalist, but personally, I didn't feel connected to it at all. There wasn't enough information here. It was sort of ambiguous, and some people find meaning in that. I don't. I want beautiful writing. I want flowery detail. This I couldn't do it. And the ending was sad. I just genuinely didn't have that effect on me, though. Like I could recognize that it would be sad to someone who really enjoyed this book. I didn't enjoy it. So 2.5 stars for The Memory Police. Glad I got to read it. Sounds like it'd be such a cool movie. Maybe they'll dive deeper in the movie, or maybe the movie will like make me feel more than the book did. Then I read The Bluest Eye. The Bluest Eye was simply heartbreaking. I think I rated it 4.5 stars. I'll put my Goodreads review on the screen. Toni Morrison, the way that she describes things is genuinely diabolical. Like there were parts where I was reading and I had to go, oh, just because it was like, I was like, I'm imagining it. And the topics that she's talking about aren't necessarily easy topics to read about. She talks about the like trigger warning. She talks a lot about rape. And then she talks a lot about just appearance and self-esteem issues because it is about a little black girl who wants blue eyes. And a lot of people when I'm talking to them, like, oh, I thought it was so sad. It's so sad. And it is sad. But I think other people think it's sad for other reasons than I do. Like, I thought it was sad because of the rape scenes, because of the family trauma, how that gets passed down and everything. But I didn't necessarily think it was sad because the little girl wanted blue eyes. as bad as it is, that's just a part of the Black experience. I didn't necessarily want blue eyes. It's just a part of the Black experience to envy parts of whiteness, whether that is how easily they move through life, or their skin tone, or just the things like that. It all like waters. It all not waters down. It all like kind of just comes down to the fact that they move through life a little easier than you as a person of color, as a Black person in this context. Moves through life. But I rated this, I think 4.5 out of 5 stars. Beautiful, and I can't wait to read literally everything else that she has ever written, because like gorgeous. I also finished this in I think 4 days. So but yeah, after that I'll go back to the books, but I wrote a Substack post called Selah, based off the Lauryn Hill song, and the quote, how beautiful is fruit still in denial of its roots, which is a quote that directly relates back to Blackness, and it feels like it represents me when I was younger. I'll put the Substack on the screen. It really represents me when I was younger, like just like I was in denial of the fact that I was Black, that I was like that I had all this history, because I wanted to move through life in a smoother way. Anyway, I wrote that Substack piece. It took a lot out of me, but I think I got the courage to write that piece because of Miss Morrison. So I can't wait to read more of her works and have it inspire me even more to write more about my experiences, being like just a Black woman. All right, the next book that I read is The Trial. Okay, I read The Trial. Guys, I read The Trial by Kafka. I bought this for myself on Valentine's Day. And it was like a Valentine's gift to myself. I was like, I have been wanting to read this book for so long, but there were so many other books in the queue before it that I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah. So I've read it. I rated it 5 stars. I think it's great. It was just like a nightmarish, like extremely immersive horror story about bureaucracy, which sounds so nerdy, but it was so great. And I think, so this is what I was saying. I rated 5 stars. This is my Goodreads review. But in my Goodreads review, I was basically saying that people always say to start reading Kafka by reading The Metamorphosis, which is what I did. But I think that's wrong. I think people should start reading Kafka by reading The Trial, because I think this is extremely accessible, and it also shows his range, and it makes you fall in love with his style of writing. Like, I get why there's the term Kafka-esque, because it really brings you into a world of his own making, and it's like nothing else I've read before. And I loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah. Yep. The ending, I was like, oh, I was literally in the train station reading, and I was like, oh, at the ending. Like, I was like, King, like, why would you do this? I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but I do recommend that all read The Trial. Now, I read 2 books. I read 2 books on my phone. Okay, so I watched a video about the Situationist International Art Movement, which is a neo-Marxist art movement. I'll put the video here. I'm not going to try to explain this in grave detail. Go watch this video. The person who made it, I forgot her name, but it's right here. She's extremely intelligent. I had to watch the video twice to understand it all, but it's a neo-Marxist art movement that kind of encompasses all facets of life. It's like making art, but not for the purpose of money, and also incorporating these like Marxist ideals into your everyday life. So being in a walkable city, and fair wages and all this fun stuff. I read a book that she mentioned in the video called The Agony of Eros. Here's the book. I'll put my Goodreads review on the screen. But I think I rated it 5 stars. The entire book reads like a dissertation. And I don't think that it's as accessible as the things that I'm reading, that I've been reading. So I will say that I probably will have to do a reread of it. But basically it's saying that, because we've commodified everything in society, no one knows how it feels to truly love, and to even fall in love is too high of a risk in itself, and it kind of like explains that to love is to lose yourself in the other person, which I don't agree with wholly, but the claims that he makes to back up this argument are extremely thought-provoking, and I was in awe of it the entire time I was reading it, and I can't wait to read it again, and like kind of like I want to like write notes on it or write an essay about it or something like that, but I will take my time to do that. But I thought it was beautiful, and you see my Goodreads review, all that fun stuff. So I do highly recommend that everyone read that, but I would also watch the video that I was mentioning before, and also kind of educate yourself on just Marxism in general. do your research on certain terms, kind of like watch that video a couple times over, and then go read the book, because I definitely will have to like read it again and just to suck that all up. I read that book in a day. It's only like 93 pages. So yeah. The other online book that I read was White Nights by Dostoevsky. So we're back to Dostoevsky. I love this man. Like nobody else. I love Dostoevsky. He's so dramatic, but here's my Goodreads review. I think I rated it 4 stars. I rated it 4 stars solely because I like the way he writes. It's accessible. It's fun to read because of the drama. But I do think that the book is highly misinterpreted on Book Talk / BookTube, because I see a lot of people saying there's no yearning like this. Like, this is the most beautiful novel I've ever read. It encompasses like what true yearning is. But honestly, it's just real. It's really a story about a man and a woman who, first of all, aren't equally yoked. Like the woman is in love with someone else the entire story, and he kind of like sees her and falls in love with her. And I feel like if you see someone and you fall in love with them, like you're falling in love with them immediately, that's a void that you're filling within yourself. So it just kind of, it didn't read as a story of yearning. It read as a story of just like a guy who doesn't know himself, and is trying to find that in love. So yeah. And a lot of people say, they're like, oh, he says her name like so many times throughout the book and she never asked his once. And that is really sad. But also that's something that's like super, like, I don't know. Sometimes like that pain is a choice. You know what I mean? Like he didn't have to, yeah, I don't know. So I wasn't in love with the story itself, just because I felt like, I was like, this all could have been avoided. And it's also not, there's a difference between like saying, oh, this all could have been avoided, but this is teaching a valuable lesson. And then like, this could all have been avoided and we could have learned a valuable lesson 60 pages ago. It wasn't a long read. It was also like 90 something pages. I was just like, like you can tell that she doesn't like him back. And the fact that he can't tell is just like, I don't know. Maybe I am grossly misinterpreting it, but it didn't stick with me like it was sticking with everybody else. Unrequited love just doesn't like hit for me anymore, honestly. When I was like in high school, I was like, oh, this unrequited love story, this like, oh, this poor person who's in love with this other person who doesn't love them back, blah blah blah. Honestly, like at our grown age, like pull it together. Like somebody who doesn't like you should just be a turn off in the first place. So like whatever. Yeah, so that was White Nights by Dostoevsky. But I mean, I still love you, Dostoevsky. I love your writing. You're just a little dramatic, and that's okay. And then the last book I want to talk about is pretty brief. I read I didn't read it. I listened to the audiobook, Feminism is for Everybody, by Bell Hooks. And I don't have much to say on that. This is my Goodreads review. I think I rated it 2.5 stars or 3. But I just want to say that it was base level knowledge about feminist theory that I already had, and maybe I wasn't the target audience. But I do think that it's valuable in the way that we can like take that knowledge and apply it to certain like feminist issues, and kind of figure out how to solve those issues, or just to simply understand why this is an issue to begin with. Like, oh, why would this be a feminist issue? Why is this a problem? Because a lot of people can't even identify that. Like sometimes it's hard for people to like you know something's wrong, but you can't necessarily explain it. So for example, the I'm just a girl trend, like, oh, I can't do that, I'm just a girl, like I'm just a girl, that trend on TikTok. A lot of people were saying that they felt like it was wrong to say, but they weren't explaining how or why that was a bad thing when it comes to feminist issues, or when it comes to just how women are perceived in general. So yeah, I feel like it'd be easy to deduce, or I feel like it'd be easy to figure out why those issues are bad and apply that theory with the knowledge from that novel. But it's knowledge I already had personally, but maybe other people need that, and I wasn't the target audience. So I'm not gonna knock Bell Hooks, okay? We all know I love mid-masculinity and love. That was everything, plus, so 5 books and 1 audiobook. Highly recommend everything I read except for The Memory Police. No, I'm joking. Read whatever you want. And then I want to talk about Substack posts that I also wrote. I wrote a lot during this time, so I'll put them on the screen. But I wrote the article for Mary Shelley, the band, in Swallow. that was the interview. And then I did the interview with Improvised Family Guy, put on the screen. And then I did the interview with Lady Heroine, which has not been posted yet, but I finished writing it. And that is all that matters, because it was taking everybody a long time communication-wise to get back to each other and like figure out the edits and all that stuff. But that's going to go out next Thursday. And then I have another Swallow post going out the Thursday after that, because my friend submitted her poetry. So that's super fun. And then I mentioned my Substack post, Sayla, about just like being Black. And then my first Substack back after posting January, I think the last time I posted was January 24th or something like that, was called Conversations on Brilliance. And I was really happy with that post, just because it was the first post in a long time, but also I think that I am becoming just a better writer because of how much I've been reading. So yeah, you know how it is. That post was just about the fact that I think it was back in September, October, someone called me brilliant, and it was a very difficult thing for me to grapple with. I was like, no, like, I'm not. What do you mean what do you mean I'm brilliant? Like, that doesn't. I was like, that's too final. I'm not, like, I'm just a person. And I think that has a lot to do with my perception of myself, but also somebody else's perception of me and like what they deem brilliant. But basically in that post, I was kind of explaining that brilliance is not a destination, but it's the pursuit of brilliance. Or intelligence in general. So just like the fact that I read a lot and the fact that I write a lot and I'm trying to learn new things and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it was kind of just like, why don't I feel brilliant even after doing all of this? And it's because it's just in the constant pursuit. Yeah, I want to read a little part of the ending, or like kind of, I'm going to pull it up so I can see. All right, this will make sense if you actually read the whole thing, but it's gonna help me make my point. So I'll read it. There's always tries, she said. I cocked my head to the side, urging for more information, though I began to understand as I waited. What do you mean by meant to be smart? She straightened her back, leaning towards me. You're meant to be whatever you decide. The only value is in trying. That's your fate, everyone's fate, the trying, she finished. The trying hurts, always in pursuit and never arriving, purely locomotive, breakless as I lay dying of want. Yeah, so that it's basically kind of my declaration that being intelligent is more so in the pursuit than it is in the actual knowing of things. That's just an added bonus. Yeah, so I wanted to keep that recap super, super short, just because like once I get back into the routine, it'll feel like nothing ever happens, like I didn't take 3 weeks off. But everybody needs a break every now and then, and honestly I was super busy, and it probably was just better for me to just like focus on keeping my sanity than try to do everything all at once. So yeah. Yeah, but I'm back. Master of None is back for as long as I can sustain it. If things start to get busy again, then they start to get busy again, and I'll just slow down a little bit, take my little break, and, you know, keep on moving. It's not a bad thing, it's just a thing that's happening. And yeah, I just, you know what, I don't want to get down on myself about like not keeping up with this, because I'm still in pursuit of this goal, to continue doing vlogs, and I'll continue to do it. It's not the fact that you took the little break, it's just the fact that it's just the way that we're gonna bounce back. I always bounce back. I never slip. I never fold. Yeah. But today it's Friday. I'm off of work. The weekend is in full swing. Thank you. Me and my roommates are gonna watch movies tonight. I'm very excited about it. I'm gonna wake up in the morning. I'm gonna go on a run. I'm gonna do some work tomorrow. What else is gonna happen? And then I'm gonna go to my friend's birthday party. And then what else is going to happen? And then on Sunday, I'm going to my friend's play reading, and that's going to be so much fun. And it's going to be just a great time for everybody involved. I'm very excited. And yeah, I think I'm going to end this here because I don't want to talk your ear off about anything. Because, you know, this was just a quick little recap. And I'll try to get this up soon. I will see you soon.